I think ultimately what Jewish Funds for Justice does is it's reimagining what it means for Jews to engage in social justice work. And it's not simply right that we help Jews do social change work, which we do, but it's really about bringing in new ideas, new approaches that haven't been tried before in a Jewish context, and connecting this very large community of Jews that are deeply, who resonate deeply with the idea, as many articulated, of Tikkun Olam, and for those who don't articulate it that way, of commitment to social change, and the Jewish community are working and understanding their work through a Jewish lens. And one of the reasons we've been so successful at doing this is because we actually look outside of the Jewish community for ideas and bring them into a Jewish context. And one of the challenges in a community that is struggling with the balance between parochialism and universalism, or particularism and universalism, is how do you take the best right from a community without losing your sense of self? And I think, in my opinion, there's been too much of a shift or too much of a push towards the particularist, and really a revisionist history about the extent to which Jews in the Jewish community have always borrowed things from the societies in which we've lived, having been a diaspora community for so many years. And I'll give you a few examples of the work that Jewish Funds for Justice does. We have a fund called Tzedek, and it's an investment fund. And the basic idea behind the fund, it's work that's been done outside of the Jewish community for years, is to put money into local credit unions or CDFIs, and those credit unions will make loans in their neighborhood specifically to help lower income communities or people who have trouble getting access to credit to buy a first home or start a small business or even build a community center in their neighborhood. And these organizations are mission driven. They want to help a neighborhood rebuild, and that's why they're doing it. But the very idea behind this is a very, very Jewish idea. If you look at what Maimonides had to say about tzedakah, right, the highest level of tzedakah is about helping people get on their own feet with a loan, right, or other ways. So what we've done is we had this idea that's been, non-Jews have been doing it for a long time, realizing that there's a very Jewish piece to this, and this is an interesting way for Jews to connect both to the social change element but also to a long-standing Jewish tradition, and we brought them together. So when we brought this program in, we were the only ones doing it. And that's been true for a variety of programs. You look at the organizing work that we've been supporting in synagogues, and despite the fact that there were a lot of Jews who worked as organizers, including the founder of the community organizing movement, Saul Alinsky, who was Jewish, there were very few synagogues that were engaged in this work. And having supported non-Jewish organizations who did this work for many years, we realized, this is so effective in churches, not only at getting things done, at winning real victories for people, but also about building community within the churches and among churches. Why shouldn't synagogues be involved in this as well? And so we took this idea, which had been developed by Jews, in part, for churches, and said, let's try to bring synagogues involved. Let's try to bring this idea into synagogues and see how it can reshape the life of a congregation that maybe is so big that you sit down and you don't know the person next to you because there's never been a framework for the two of you to have a conversation, to really get to know each other. And if you look at what's happened over the last 3 to 5 years, you now have dozens and dozens, it's more than 100 congregations that are doing this work, and the synagogues are being strengthened because of it. So I think if you look at something unique that we do, is we really take ideas from outside of the Jewish community, bring them into the Jewish community, we're not afraid to do that, and find right? The Jewish light, the Jewish ideas that exist within it to tie it together.